know they bring a powerful offense to any game that they're going to play in. It's the defense on the Bengals side that has let them down pretty much all season long. We'll get to that side of the ball because they do have a star player there on the interior defensive line that could make it a long day for Bo Nix. But let's talk about Joe Burrow first. He's obviously the one that's going to get all the attention. Well, Sean Payton knows how important it is to slow down. You can't shut him down, but slow down a Joe Burrow.
I would say he's got that poise. He's got real athletic feet. He can move. He can throw off schedule. I don't know if there's one person. I remember the evaluation, though, and you knew he was going to be selected extremely high. Yeah, I mean, I think that you have grades and you look at guys, and so often it depends on where they go, the system they're in. Man, for him to go with one of his top receivers was pretty unique. That doesn't always get to happen, and those two have really taken advantage of it.
So you know how dangerous they're going to be. I'm kind of scrolling through the Bengals schedule here. They've scored, well, I will say this. They've only scored 24 or less 4 times this year.
Yeah.
That's it. 24 or less 4 different times this year.
They've also lost when they scored 38, I believe, twice.
Yep. They lost to the Steelers 44-38, and they lost to the Bengals, the Ravens when they scored 34, so 35-34 there. It's not been good. Oh, you're right, because the Ravens' first time was 41-38. So both of those games. We know how powerful this offense is.
Oh, yeah.
I can't get out of my head that Sean specifically thinks, we're going to go there, and it's going to be an offensive outing. It's going to be a Star Wars numbers type game like you talk about with Peyton Manning and these Broncos. I'm terrified that Sean believes they bring that to the Bengals. They bring a powerful enough offense that they can have a 41-38 type of game and win it. I'm terrified that that's what Sean truly believes.
I'm terrified of what Vance Joseph has done to this defense. I mean, that was then, this is now. If you look at this defense over the last 4 games, and I think that's the chunk that you're supposed to look at. If people look at season-long stats, that doesn't tell you the whole story. Look at the last month or so with this Broncos defense. Have they been as good? Do they pass the eye test for you? Do they stop players, or do they let someone get after them?
Mm-hmm.
And is that Jerry Jeudy? Is that whoever the Chargers threw at you? Like, this defense is just different now, and it's not as good. They need to be their best. Do they have playmakers? Yes, up and down the roster. And Pat Surtain's awesome, and Riley Moss should be back. That's great. But kind of like the Calvin Booth plan, you had one guy go down. Your defense has been not as good. Riley Moss goes down, and your defense falls apart?
Yeah.
How's that happen, right? It shouldn't happen. You should be able to kind of get over that, and the Broncos were not able to do that. So now a supreme test against Joe Burrow and all of those weapons.
I mean, I don't want to say they can't do it, but that can't be the game plan to go in and be like, no, we're going to win 41-35. That's not what you want to go in.
In a downpour?
Right. Yeah, exactly. In the downpour. It's also what you bring up about VJ's defense. Our buddy Andrew Mason wrote about it at denversports.com today, or at least that's where I read it was today. They've been one of the worst over the course of this month of December. I know what you're saying, Cease, of like, hey, you can't just put that all on Riley Moss, but a little bit, I think you go to VJ and go, well, you lost Riley Moss, but then you change the identity of that defense. You're asking guys to play in a soft zone rather than man and just cover where you're supposed to be, the player you're supposed to be instead of where you're supposed to be.
Right.
I think a little bit of that falls on VJ too.
Yeah, a little bit falls on VJ. It's something they've got to fix. They've got no option this week, and don't give me weather. Those guys are going to know at their home stadium how to put up points against you, and they can do it multiple ways. There's players they don't even use that are better than the Broncos have in their starting lineup. That's Khalil Herbert, by the way, who I wanted the Broncos to pick up via trade.
You did.
The Bengals got him for nothing, like a 7th-round pick, something that's like, all right, that guy would be a starter here. He's their backup. He doesn't even touch the ball because they have so many weapons, and Chase Brown doing what he does as a runner and receiver out of the backfield. They don't miss Joe Mixon. They don't miss Joe. By the way, Joe Mixon getting almost in a fight with my man Josh Johnson.
Yeah, I thought of you immediately because Josh Johnson.
He better watch out, man. Yeah. Josh's cousin is Marshawn Lynch.
Oh, wow. I forgot about that.
And Marshawn would take out Joe Mixon in a fist fight.
Yes,
like 1,000%.
God, I would love to see that, man. I would absolutely love to see
Run through a face. Then you don't have to worry about him no more.
What was the fight about them? The ball landed in some area.
Punter was warming up, and it landed in a place that was offensive. So then Joe Mixon was offended, and then I don't know.
Okay. I mean, I'm here for it, but I was like, wait a minute. Are they fighting over ball placement right now? That's a very weird thing to be fighting about.
It is very, very odd.
Especially on Christmas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's Christmas, guys. Sean Payton continued to talk about these Bengals, and I mentioned this, something that they're good at that the Broncos are going to have to be ready for. You talk about Riley Moss and PS2. Well, they're good at playing offensively off script.
They're so good. The other part that they do a great job with is, and Joe does a good job with this, reading, feeling the pocket, climbing, and extending a play. They're really good with the not the improv, but the second element of a play if it's not open on time. And he'll keep it just as well and go get a first down. But they're really good with their scramble drill rules. So you really have to work on plaster, staying with your guy, and then we have to rush him the right way as well.
All right, so a couple of things. We're talking about VJ and the defense just a second ago, Cease. Maybe I'm making it too simple. And football, Lord knows that coaches don't do that. Am I oversimplifying this? PS2, you got Jamar. Riley, you got T. Higgins. We'll go from there.
Yeah, it's frustrating because can you trust Vance Joseph to do the right thing, which is Jamar Chase, PS2. There's your matchup.
Yep.
Period, point blank. Let Mike Gesicki beat you, which you might be able to.
Well, if that's the case, you shake his hand and go, you did it, man.
Right. Hey, you did it. But your game plan must include Jamar Chase. He can get you for like 150 yards. I don't even want to say 200, but that's the type of playmaker that he is. So, and then T. Higgins on a just coming back, maybe rusty Riley Moss. That's going to be something to watch there as well. So, but is Vance Joseph going to be like, no, PS2 doesn't travel? All right, well, you're just causing yourself your own problems. And by the way, and our man Andrew Mason had this on Twitter yesterday. What's with Vance Joseph saying it's tough to play defense in December?
You don't want to hear that, right?
No, I don't understand that at all. He says every soft part, every warn on your defense is on tape, so it's tough to play defense in the last month. So we have to adjust quickly. You haven't adjusted.
Wow.
You haven't adjusted. VJ, those words came out of VJ's mouth.
Yeah, that you don't want to hear that.
No.
I don't want to hear that from.
It's tough to play defense in December.
Doesn't that? You know when you said his exact quote, like, "Wow, is this guy the Cliff Kingsbury of the defensive side?" So you do something really well, and then people start to figure it out, and you have no adjustments to be made.
Well, you said it earlier, like, and we're talking about the Nuggets specifically, but like, we're gonna give you the flowers. I'm not a flower guy, but we're going to give you that.
Your credit.
One thing we're not going to do is we're not going to apologize because all the people, you apologize to Vance Joseph. Not if he's playing like this. Not if he's putting together game plans like this. Not if Jerry Jeudy's working you. Yeah, you won. Okay. But like, I expect VJ, future head coach in this league, I expect VJ to be better, and he hasn't been better.
Yep.
It can't be as simple as Riley Moss is out. That can't be the answer. His game plans have been corrupt, and then he doesn't adjust. So come on, VJ. I know you can be better than this.
Well, what do you make of the Levi Wallace waiving? Is that because I told you after they bench Levi Wallace and go with Chris Abrams-Drain, in my mind, it felt as if VJ thought he was right in his game plan, that the player let him down. And then you waive the guy. I'm like, oh, well, there's some more evidence that he thought he was right, and it was the player that let him down.
That was odd because they did it to make Blake Watson active. But again, if Tyler Baday's back, then which running back are you letting go of Javonte? Like, again, are you letting go of Blake Watson because you got rid of Levi Wallace? Like, what?
Thinking out loud, which is scary.
Yeah.
But isn't it in the Broncos' mind, nobody's going to take a shot at Tyler Baday in Week 18 coming off the injury he came off of? Aren't they banking on that?
If I was Baltimore, I would. He was with Baltimore.
Yeah.
Everybody knows he can make plays. And he could come in and be a spark, little change of pace behind Derrick Henry, spark that team to the Super Bowl. You want that to happen? You're already watching Samaje Perine get it done for the Chiefs.
I know. That
which
stupid
is painful.
flip pass that he caught.
I know.
He was on the ground while the ball was in the air and had to get up and locate it, catch it, and complete for a first down.
At least he caught it, unlike Nuke Hopkins or whatever that would hit the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, but they still called it a catch because
Yes.
they're the Chiefs.
It's the Chiefs.
All right, let's